2 bits.
4 bits. 6 bits $1.
6 bits $1.
$1.
All for the Gators.
All for the Gators.
All for the Gators.
Stand up and holler.
Stand up and holler.
Stand up and holler.
How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to Stand Up and Holler, episode 4. Today on the list, we got some more recruiting talk. We got a couple more games deep dive with Mississippi State and UGA. Got a couple more questions of the week. And this week, we have a new segment with the player spotlight where we're going to talk about some negatives of a player, some positives, kind of where I stand on them and where the media stands on them and things, that I've been reading and hearing about. So I'm excited to dive into this with y'all, and we're just getting closer and closer to game day, getting closer to kicking it off against LIU, and I cannot wait. Not many more Saturdays to go, even though as a Gators fan, it feels like an eternity. So this week, we got a couple of recruits since I last talked to you, and we're going to start off with KJ Ford. KJ is an edge, 4-star edge, 6'4", 245-pound edge out of Duncanville, Texas. He is an absolute monster. This is a huge get. If you saw, I did a live stream for this. It was a ton of fun. If you're watching this and you showed up to it, thank you so very much. I want to do more live streams, and I want to do more for commitments and just in general to get some questions and even bring some of you in here. It was a blast. I can't even explain. So diving into KJ Ford, I'm going to read to you what Gabe Brooks has to say about him. Well-rounded, classic defensive end with sneaky size and requisite length. May most appropriately embody a traditional 3-point 4-3 end, primarily aligned as a 7-tech. That said, like a potentially scheme-versatile edge who could also provide valuable snaps as a hybrid 2.34 rusher. Uses leverage and sudden point-of-attack strength to affect the run game, still developing consistent bend and dip flexibility, but flashes arc running ability as a rusher. Also shows some promising stack and shed power against large foes. His 2024 stats, he finished his junior campaign with 57 tackles, 16 tackles for loss, 7 sacks, 1 forced fumble, and 15 hurries. He helped Duncanville reach the Texas 6A D1 semifinals. They did lose in the semifinals, but watching this man, he is an absolute monster. I mean, his range is amazing. I just saw a clip. If you follow me on Instagram, I shared it onto my story. But an offensive lineman who is going to Texas Tech, who got paid $5.1 million. Our boy here put him flat on his back and got past him multiple times. So I don't know what he's getting paid NIL-wise, but I mean, they better hope that they ain't got to go up against him because that $5.1 million may not be worth it. But this is a huge, huge get for the Gators. We needed an edge. We missed on Trenton Henderson. He went to LSU. I'll be 100% honest. I'm trying not to be biased, but I've been watching the tape of him and Trenton Henderson. And to be brutally honest, I really like this guy a lot more. I really do. I think that he has a lot of abilities. I think the way that he gets off the line and he breaks through and the way that he's able to crash down on the run is massive, is absolutely massive. It's something that we need. And I think that the way that he attacks the quarterback is another thing that's huge there. He's very quick. He's very twitchy. And some of that stuff you just can't teach. A quick twitch, you can kind of teach some things, and working out can kind of change, a twitch here and some speed here. But some of that stuff that's a natural ability, when you take them to that next level and you put some of that more production into them, you see how quickly they get onto the field. And he said he wants to be a freshman All-American. So, I mean, someone with those kind of goals that are coming in and, he's already on Twitter tagging different players throughout the country saying, hey, let's make the best defensive line in the country. I mean, I like a player that commits and then turns right around and recruits. He's trying to bring people in that he wants to play with. I love it. I love it beyond words because that helps the coaches out. These coaches aren't out there on the field playing with these guys. They're playing out there with each other. And for them to go and say, hey, come join, like, let's make this something special, in Gainesville, make the swamp jump again. I love that. That's huge. I absolutely love seeing him recruit everybody. We also, this one's a little bit different, but on Saturday, we got a commitment from 4-star, 6'6", 247 has him listed at 310 pounds, and an athlete. He calls himself a tight end, Hezzy Kent. He calls himself a tight end. Some look at him as an offensive tackle. Who knows? All as I know is that I'm glad he's with us. I don't care what position he plays because I watched the tape. He's a great blocker. That's huge there because even if he does play tight end, the way Florida runs tight ends, you need a tight end that can block, and he can definitely do it. I mean, he is massive. But also, I watched this man in his highlights running 55 yards down the field and bean topping somebody. So, I mean, in all reality, he's a hybrid athlete. And honestly, I would not be shocked. This might be a stretch here, but I would not be shocked when he gets on campus if 2 years down the road you see that he's on the defensive line. It would not shock me. He's just that kind of athlete that I think you can put him anywhere on the field, like that offensive line, defensive line, tight end. And I think that he can thrive and he can make an impact out there. So that's huge. Massive, massive get. And I'll tell you what, you look at the 247 rankings, and you look at the on-3 rankings, we jumped a certain somebody that we play at the end of the season, and we always love being ahead of them in anything. So that's massive. I love that. Let's go ahead and take a look and see where that puts us at in team rankings. We're going to look at 247. That's where I go off of. I know that on-3 is there too, but everything I do, I really focus on 247. That puts the Gators at number 14 in the country for team rankings. We have 13 4-stars and 5 3-stars with an average rating of 91.42 and an overall score of 253.25. The fact that we only have 18 commits and we're at 14, and that's before the games have even been played, and someone of the, like right here, Florida State, 22 commits. I mean, they almost got a full class, and they're one below us. Huge. I love that. I love seeing the production and the pieces that we're putting in here. You go back and you look, at the past couple of recruiting cycles by Billy, he's not only just bringing in players, he's bringing in these blue chip players, and that's huge. That's the players that make an impact on the field, and that's what you need to fill your team with is these blue chip players. There's a reason that they're considered that. So I've said it every other week, and I'm going to say it again here and just keep repeating. I'll probably say it the remainder of the weeks. I trust this coaching staff's evaluations. They know what they're doing. They're finding – some of them are even finding diamonds in the rough. And as soon as we put our hands on them, it just so happens that these other teams are wanting to kind of get their hands on them too. And that's a huge telltale right there. So 2 massive gets, bumped us up a lot. Like I said, a month and a half ago, we were sitting in the 70s, and now we're at 14. I mean, summertime Billy does it again. So that's the 2 we got this week. I'm hoping that next time I talk to you guys, I'd love to talk about more. I don't know of anybody else that's set to commit within that time frame from now until next week. But if we do, I'll talk about it. I'll be here to update you guys. If there's anything you want to know about recruiting, like how the scoring works or anything like that, let me know because I'd love to talk about it next week in the recruiting section. I just don't want to bore you guys if you guys don't want to hear about it. But yeah, so that is our update on our recruits. 2 major gets. I can't wait to see, like I said, I can't wait to see after the games are played, us maybe push some of these 3-stars out and turn those into higher 4-stars and higher 5-stars that might be committed to other classes right now. Because I'm hearing some things about some flips that are a possibility, but we'll see where that takes us. We'll see what happens there. I'm not gonna go out and speak about it before it happens, but just know that there is some flip watches out there. So we'll see how that unfolds. But yeah, so that's it for recruiting this week. We're gonna move on over to Mississippi State and the Georgia Bulldogs. So going into Mississippi State, this is going to be Florida's homecoming game. And to be brutally honest, I think that Mississippi State is going to be the worst team in the SEC this season. I just don't see them taking a massive jump from what they did last year. They probably improve a little bit. I'd hope so. After a 2-10 season, you kind of got room to hopefully improve. I mean, there's another team that went 2-10 we'll talk about in a later podcast, but we'll throw shade at them every time we get a chance to. But diving into this, the Gators lead the all-time series 34-19-2. The last meeting was last year. The Gators won 45-28. And I don't see any way that Mississippi State comes into the swamp and beats us. Now, with that being said, I do believe because of where this game is, so hear me, I'm not saying that this is just an overall thing, but because of this game being at the end of that 4-game stretch that's so tough and right before Georgia. So you got that stretch of games right there. LSU, Miami, Texas A&M. Then you got Mississippi State, and then you got Georgia. I could see it looking like Mississippi State is just this cakewalk game and that some of these players come into it. It's homecoming. It's just a bad recipe, a bad mixture I don't think it's going to be a loss, but I could see it fourth quarter rolling around and we're looking at a game that is way too close, that it should not be like that. And it takes some type of game-winning drive or some late hoorah to be able to win the game. It wouldn't shock me. We've seen it happen before. It's why they call it a trap game. Again, I just don't see us losing to them because I think they are just that bad. But it's a recipe for disaster. I don't like it. But that's why coach has got to coach and Billy's got to keep those boys prepared. I think that he just needs to keep it in their brain. Remember last year. We cannot play catch up. You got to go out there and you got to play smash mouth football from the first whistle to the last whistle. Point blank. That's all you got to do. And again, just remember I said it. It would not shock me if that fourth quarter rolls around in this game and it's like, hey, what the heck's going on? Why are we in a dogfight, no pun intended, against the Mississippi State Bulldogs? But that's all I really have to say about that. It's not that crazy of a game. I do think that it's a game that in all reality, we should go out there and win by 3+ scores and just put them away quick and let these players go and enjoy homecoming. Moving on to the next set of Bulldogs, the Georgia Bulldogs. I'm going to say this before I talk about this game. If I post this on TikTok and any of you grown men are typing bark, bark, bark in my comments, I'm not even going to respond to you. I can't take it. I just can't take it. But I feel like that's going to be the case. Diving into this game, the world's largest cocktail party. Unfortunately, Georgia leads the series 56-44-2 over the Gators. I hate saying that. It just stings. Sucks. In the last 10 games, Georgia also leads the series 7-3. And I mean, we got to get something going. It just something has to get turned around. We got to start being competitive. Now, again, Georgia fans, before I say this, please calm down. Don't attack me. Let me say what I had to say, because I know people that went to that game last year. any of them can tell you, and I will guarantee you that if the Georgia fans are unbiased and actually look at it in a reality, in a real type of way, they'll tell you that there was all momentum leaning towards Florida. I get it, Georgia fans. We were only up by a touchdown, yada, yada. I understand. I get it. But there's a real thing in momentum when it comes to football. And the crowd is rocking and everybody's cheering and being loud. And, there's a lot of belief there. And I still have the text message. My cousin texted me and told me as soon as Lagway went down, he said, this place is just dead in here. That it just feels like all the air just got taken out of this place. The Gators fans were just down for the count. And I think that the players were, coaches were, everyone just knew. And I understand we should have a better backup. But technically at that point, it's not like DJ was the full-on starter from the beginning of the season. He was our second string because of losing our first string. And then we're on to our third string, which, he wasn't winning that game. I'm sorry. Not even going in there and just trying to maintain the game. It was not going to happen. So I want to see a fully healthy DJ from start to finish. Now we got different things here. Carson Beck was just throwing interceptions last year, and that was helping us because we were getting a lot of pressure on him. We were disrupting him. I don't know if we're going to be able to get to the quarterback like that this year. You got Gunner back there. It's a different look. But we also, if we keep DJ the whole time, it's going to be a different outlook. It's going to be a different game. And I'm sorry, you can mark this down. You can screen record this, whatever you want. You are not going to blow us out from the second half on like you guys have previous years. Honestly, I don't think that you guys win if we have a healthy DJ the whole time. Don't care. Attack me in the comments. It's fine. I just don't see it. It's going to be an amazing matchup like it usually always is. It's been a couple of seasons here that it's gotten real ugly for us. But I do think that, again, I've talked about this in other massive games, and I hate that I keep sounding repetitive, but it just goes into this deep dive that Billy has got to take the chains off of this offense, and he's got to let it roll. Whether that means that by this point he realizes that, hey, I just need to turn it all over to Russ Callaway, or, if the offense is clicking and it's running, I mean, I hope by this point, by this game, I hope that the chains are off and that we're just rocking and rolling and scoring, because if we're not, it's going to look real ugly going into this week. It's going to look real ugly even prior to that. Our record's going to be bad, and it's just not going to be great. But I just, it's why you play the game every year. And yep, Georgia fans, you got us last year. You've gotten us quite a few other in the past 10, but that's why we got to play the game every year. And I think that there's a couple of things with Georgia too to kind of dive into it. I think that their defensive line, this is y'all's Riders. This is not me, so don't attack me. That the defensive line, they don't know, because of losing talent to the NFL, how that's going to turn over. No one knows. I don't think that there's a lot of depth at running back. You guys probably think that there is, but behind Frazier, I don't think there's a lot of depth there. And to be brutally honest, I don't think that the receivers have performed like 4 and 5 stars should, that with how many you have there. I just don't think you guys have had in the past couple of seasons some like outstanding receiver. It's just been, y'all's defense has been insane. And so I really do want to see how this game plays out, because if you can't put pressure on DJ, if you can't force DJ to run around, it's going to be a very long game. I mean, he will dice you up. So I love this matchup. I really do. I cannot wait for it this year. I can't wait to see how this game plays out. And to be brutally honest, I think we got this one. I'm going to go ahead and stamp it. I know I've said it before that I'm not going to pick a winner, a loser, a score. I feel like this year we're beating Georgia. Mark it down, screen record it, whatever you want to do, time stamp it. I'm calling it now that we're going to beat the Georgia Bulldogs this year. End of discussion. So I might get flamed for this later, but I fully believe it with everything in me that we just are going to have the better team this year, and we're going to put these boys down. But yeah, that's just the deep dive in those two. Again, the Mississippi State game, I think that's going to be kind of a breather. I just hope it's not too much of a breather that it hurts us. But then we get on to Georgia because this schedule is just absolutely just murder's row. So I can't wait to see how it goes. I cannot wait for that Georgia matchup. I think that's probably second or third on my list of like games I can't wait for this year. And so, yeah, I just can't wait to get to it. So jumping over to questions of the week. We got a couple more this week, and they're really good. Keep sending me, whether you put it in the comments of the YouTube channel, put it in the comments of my Instagram pictures, or even if you message me, however you want to ask me the questions, I'll find them. I'll read them. I read all the comments, read everything. Just even if you comment on the TikTok, I don't care. I'll write it down and I'll make sure to get to them. Now I have quite a few of them. So, but I will make sure to get to them. But the first one is, how do you think this year will affect Billy Napier? This is honestly a great question because he barely, if there's anything you got to give him kudos for, is the way that he just kept himself alive. He said in a press conference last season, he was asked, do you see a path to you getting a fourth season? And he said, yes, of course. And I laughed. I was laughing so hard because I was like, you're done for. Like, you're canned. I don't know when it's going to happen. I don't know what they're waiting on, either the buyout money, but I was like, you're canned. And sure enough, here we are in season 4, and he's here. So he turned the second half around. But again, that was the second half of last season. And something that's not going to cut it at the University of Florida is another season like last year. You're not going to get we had a good second half of the season. Doesn't matter. I will go out and say it right now that if he has an 8-win season or less this year, he will not be the head coach of the University of Florida next year. There's no way. It's 9+. And I really believe it's playoffs or bust. Because I think if we get 9 wins, I think that we're in the playoffs. But even if for some reason we get 9 wins and get snubbed from the playoffs, I do think that 9 wins with this schedule is enough to keep him around the way he recruits. I just think that 9 wins, you got to bring in an actual OC. Like, not, I promoted this guy to offensive coordinator, or I'm going to share play call. No, you got to bring in a legit offensive coordinator that has that title, and that's what he does. Passing, running, he has full reins of it, and Billy takes his paws off of all of it. And so I think that this is a massive, massive year for him. And if he doesn't, I fully believe it. 8 wins or less, I just don't see him being the head coach of the University of Florida. The fans are not going to put up with it. They're going to be booing. They're going to be hollering. They'll be at the games booing him like last season. Shoot, even myself, I was wearing a Fire Billy shirt up to the swamp and was full on the train of Fire Billy. Full on it. And now he's got me drinking the Kool-Aid again. I'm right back telling everyone, nope, this is the year. Like, we're back. Look at this, how stacked we are. So, Billy, please, if for some reason you see this, please don't let me down. Please don't let me look stupid or silly out here. But that was a great question. I really appreciate that one because that is, I'm sick and tired of having to go and search for a coach. I mean, it just feels like rinse and repeat ever since Urban Meyer. Get someone that comes in, they might be good at recruiting or they might be good at the coaching side of it, but it's just like you can't find someone here for some reason that can put it all together. And I'm like, it's the University of Florida. I just don't understand. I feel like it pretty much recruits itself for the most part. And the fact that it's such A+ job when it comes to college football, I just can't understand anyone, even Billy, how he could in a sense, be so egotistical that he would not give up the reins of play calling to save a job at a place like the University of Florida. I just don't see it. I just who he is as a person and what it seems like he is. I think that if it goes kind of that way this year, I can see him doing it, or at least I hope. If not, it's not going to end well for him, and he'll be job searching by next season. So yeah. Second question is a really fun one, and this one is again, it's just like last week's question when it came to moments that gave me chills when it came to the Gators. And this one is most underappreciated Gator of all time. I had a lot of fun on TikTok with the question last week, and you guys giving me your moments. So again, I'm gonna post this on TikTok. Please, I want to hear your most underappreciated Gators of all time, as well as I'm about to give mine, because I'm sure there's going to be a bunch that I miss. But I personally feel like, and this could be a stretch, I don't really know, but truly, I think one of the most underappreciated has to be probably Kyle Trask. I feel like he kind of got overshadowed by like Kyle Pitts, but Kyle Trask as a Gator was just something special. And you guys might think that's a silly pick, but I just don't feel like when we're talking about like these different, like just top tier Gators, I feel like he kind of gets left out of that topic. And I'll be honest with you, I mean, he's probably my second favorite quarterback there behind DJ, and that's just like a recent bias with DJ. But Kyle Trask just was a scoring animal. And who knows, that could have been a Dan Mullen led offense that made him even better than he was. But I just think there's a lot that he did for that team and the leadership that he brought that just he doesn't get the love and respect to the amount that he should. But I guarantee you that if he went and won a Heisman and he went and won a national championship, I mean, people would be raving about him and he'd be talked about higher. But some things are out of your control when it comes to certain things, aka someone throwing a cleat and causing everything to spiral down. That's just moronic, absolutely moronic. And it's not Kyle Trask's fault. And I just feel like he deserves so much more respect as a Gator, so much more. But yeah, he's got to be probably like my number one pick. There's some others. I think that Dallas Baker is another one. It's a real low key pick, but I think that Dallas Baker was a huge part of that 06 team. And again, I just feel like he was pretty underappreciated when it comes to just when I say that, I know that when we talk about the 06 team, it's easy to talk about him. But when I talk about like receivers that made a difference and are talked about years later, so 2006, we're 19 years later, he just isn't talked about as much. And I mean, he was a monster. And just look at what he did in some of those key games. Go watch Swamp Kings on Netflix, and you will see the amount of things he did for that team that brought us to where we ended up. And him doing that, I just don't think he gets the appreciation that he should have. So those are my two Gators. I really, really want to hear what y'all have to say. So give me the comments in the TikTok, give me comments in the YouTube comments, Instagram. I want to hear it wherever. I love to hear about anything and everything Florida Gators. So throw it at me. Even if you have an underappreciated Gator outside of football, being basketball, baseball, I don't care. You let me know because I want to hear about it. But yeah, so those are the questions of the week. I'm going to try to keep it to like 2 a week, maybe 3, because it was pretty quick this week. I might try to up it to 3 next week. But yeah, keep the questions coming. I love it. Like I said, I can talk about the Gators for days. So yeah, just keep them coming and let's keep talking about them. So jumping over to player spotlight. This is tough because I had somebody else on there and I'm going to talk about them next week. But as for this week, I'm going to talk about obviously the most popular Gator on the football team right now, but there's a reason for it. And we're going to player spotlight DJ Lagway. The reason that I want to talk about Lagway is because I see a lot of comments and he is getting media hype, but I see a lot of like other teams who are going to ESPN or they're just Googling stats and they're going, well, he's only got this many touchdowns and he's only got this many and he's got this many interceptions. In SEC play, he has 6 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. That's not good. Like, why is he getting the hype? Why is he getting the hype? Okay. I'm going to dive into this and I'm going to try to be unbiased, but it's hard because when you are a fan of the team and you watch these games and you see the things that happen, I have a reason for why I'm saying what I'm saying. Whereas if you're a fan of another team, you're not watching the Gators if they're not playing your team. So you're not going to see it. And I love it. I get it. It's a troll. It's this. I do it. I troll Florida State. I troll Georgia. I troll whoever if it fits my narrative. The interceptions, yes, there's some things with it. Number one, you have an offense led by Billy Napier. He is a amazing run game offensive coordinator. I mean, he can call a run offense amazing. When it comes to a passing offense, though, I just don't feel like he fully has it. And I feel like the problem is that you have Lagway, who is a gunslinger. We know that. He tries to fit the ball into, tight spots and tight windows that, yeah, he probably shouldn't have got it there, but there's times that he gets it in there. So that's why he's going to try it again because he's done it before. So why not try it again? But when you're a quarterback, nobody is going to go, hey, yeah, I want to go play quarterback for a place that I'm going to hand the ball off 90% of the time. No one. And if you do, when you are handing the ball off a lot, hand the ball, when you finally get that chance to throw, you're not going to, let me dump it down here. That's not what you're going to do. You're trying to, if you're not throwing as much, you are trying to make throws count when you get that opportunity. So you cannot fault him for when you got Billy Napier calling handoffs to Montrell Johnson and to Jaden Ball and to Jacoby, just handoff, and then like you're okay. Now I'm getting the throw. You're going to take your risk. You're going to take your chance. And yes, he threw interceptions. I get that, but let's spotlight this: an interception, throws a pass, Aiden Mizell, it gets tipped off of his fingers, and it gets picked off. Now, I just truly don't understand how we're at where we're at in football, and we can't put some type of statistic in there that shows, hey, this was a tipped there was a tipped interception by the receiver. The receiver tipped the ball, and it gets picked off. And again, every other fan base can look at it just as I do to other quarterbacks and go, always got this many interceptions. Okay, well, where did the receiver go wrong? Okay, young receivers. Was that receiver supposed to run this route or was he supposed to be here? And so DJ thinks he's going to be there, so he anticipates the throw and throws it there. There's a lot that goes into that. He's also a true freshman playing in the SEC. He did not expect to have that position. It got brought to him because Graham Mertz got hurt, and you can only learn so much in a small window. Again, some of those interceptions, yes, 100% his fault. Some of the interceptions against Tulane, 100%. I'm watching it, and I'm like, what is he doing? Why is he throwing those passes? But also, as much as I'm going to sit here and say that some of those were his fault, I'm also going to stand 10 toes on it and say that you go back and you watch those interceptions. You go to YouTube and you type in DJ Lagway interceptions, and you tell me which ones were tipped. And again, you can't, you don't know what the play call was. You don't know if, he was supposed to run an in route, but he runs a post route. And because he ran that, DJ anticipated, oh, he's going to be here, so I throw it, and corner breaks down on it. You just can't. And if you try to argue that, I'm sorry, but you just don't know ball if you're trying to argue that, because we do not know what the play calls were. Do I think that he makes some mistakes? Yeah, I would expect a true freshman to make mistakes, 100%, especially a true freshman that is used to running the ball too, and he's hindered by a hamstring injury. So all he can do is stand in the pocket and make certain decisions, whereas normally he'd roll to the right, roll to the left, and he'd find an opening, whereas now he's standing there in the pocket. Does his pocket awareness and his pocket presence got to get better as to distributing the ball from the pocket and making a pass to receiver? 100%. 100%. But I definitely think that you're going to see a jump. This year, you're going to see a jump in his production and how many touchdowns he throws, because you're going to see it change. There's going to be more passing. If Russ Callaway is a part of that offense at all with calling plays, they're going to throw the ball. Look at his past teams that he's been with, very pass heavy team, and I think it's going to change Lagway. It's going to change his being able to throw more. He's going to understand that, okay, I don't have to force this in route or this slant route. I don't have to force it in there where I'm gunning the ball there and trying to get it to him, because I only have so many opportunities to throw it. But again, that's going to take Billy taking the chains off of Lagway and going, all right, I trust you. I saw you win last year. From games that start to finish, you won all of them. Games that you started in, you finished the game, you're undefeated. So he's got to trust him. And so I got to stop hearing well, he threw this many touchdowns with this many interceptions. I don't care. I don't care. No one judges Arch like that. Arch has this many touchdowns and this many interceptions. Yeah, because he played against nobodies. He didn't start games against an Ole Miss or an LSU. He didn't do it. So let's not sit here and act like because a quarterback threw interceptions that is every single time it's a bad pass, that every single time it was a bad read. It's not always that. Again, it's not always a receiver. Do I think that some of those interceptions were DJ? Of course I do. Hands down, quarterbacks throw interceptions. It's a given. But do I think that every single one of those interceptions is like at the fault of DJ? No. I watched one of those interceptions happen in person where the ball was easily catchable and it tips off his hands and it gets intercepted. Nothing you can do about that. There's just absolutely nothing. You guys are acting like he's Jackson Dart thrown into quadruple coverage every single time he throws an interception, going, oh, he's making bad reads. That's just not what it is. And so, again, now if we go into this season and I see him throwing the ball more and his passes are up and his interceptions are going up and it's not because of tip balls, okay, we might have a problem now. Now we might have an interception problem. We might be a Patrick Mahomes out here. Can't do it. We got it. We do got to knock him down some. But again, we got to stop looking at this as like, oh, it's all Lagway. It's all Lagway. It's not. It's just not. So that's I feel like I have one every single week. That was my passionate segment of the week. But I do want to see the improvements. I think that him as a sophomore, he's got a feel for it now. I mean, I'll stand by this too. Just going back a little bit. I'll take a quarterback that throws interceptions if at the end of the game, I don't care how many interceptions he throws in the game. He can throw 15 interceptions in the game if at the end of the game our score is higher than their score when all zeros are on the board. I don't care. Doesn't bother me. As long as we're winning the game, throw as many interceptions as you want. That's fine. Because that same guy that everybody loves to talk about, I guarantee that most of y'all's quarterbacks could not go into Neyland Stadium at night and throw a touchdown pass like that to Shamir DK to take that game into overtime. It's just not going to happen. There's missed plays, there's missed reads and missed assignments, but then there's clutch players and there's big-time players who do big-time things. And that's what he brings to the table. A winner is going to find a way to win. He might mess up, might throw interceptions, he might make a bad read here and there. Again, I don't care what he does wrong throughout the game, as long as at the end of that game, we come out on top. It's all that matters. That's all there is to it. That's the name of the game. That is what football is just score more points than who you're playing when the clock strikes 0. That's all there is to it. That's what it is. So I want to hear from Gators fans what you think of Lagway. What do you think of his interceptions? What do you think of his play? Again, I do think that there's some bad reads, but he's a true freshman. He'll get it cleaned up. He's got to get the groove. He's got to get his feet wet. He got his feet wet last year. This year, I think it's great that he gets to start against an LIU to kind of get the motor running. And he jumped to a USF. I think it's kind of like a progression. I definitely think you're going to see the interceptions drop and you're going to see the touchdowns go up. So just like the comments of everything else, let me hear what you have to say. Let me hear what you think of Lagway. And if you think that I am just completely biased, I'm sure that a ton of people are going to say that. And that's fine. I get it. I already know I'm biased. I'm rocking with the Gators 10 toes down. And that's all there is to it. I stand by mine. But I do want to hear it. Let me know about any of it. Like I said, I've said it before. Let me know what you want to hear. I would love to be able to bring you guys the content that you want to hear. There's not a thing with the Gators that I don't want to talk about. So bring it up to me, whether it be me talking about the negative or the positive. Let me know what you want to hear, and we'll talk about it in future episodes. We can even make it a segment, whatever it may be. But I really do thank you guys for hanging out with me. This is a little bit shorter of an episode than the other ones, by a little bit, but I look forward to hearing what you guys have to say, and I cannot wait for next week to hang out with you guys again. But as always, go Gators.